Good afternoon, everyone. All right, Virgo, let's pump the brakes immediately. I'm not going to tell you that some celebrity or CEO or influencer is about to walk into your life and change everything. That's fantasy, not guidance. What I will explore with you is whether there's someone entering your orbit whose presence, influence, or position could create significant shift, and more importantly, how to navigate that possibility without losing yourself in the process. Let's get grounded. High profile means different things to different people. For some, it's literal fame, someone recognizable, someone with public presence, followers, influence that extends beyond personal circles into cultural visibility. For others, it's positional power, someone with authority in their field, someone whose name carries weight in specific industries or communities, someone whose endorsement or attention creates opportunities that didn't exist before. For others, still, it's energetic magnitude. Someone who walks into rooms and shifts the atmosphere. Someone whose presence demands attention not through titles or followers, but through sheer force of personality, competence, or charisma. So when I say someone with high profile energy might be entering your field, I'm not promising you're about to date a movie star or get discovered by some industry titan. What I'm tracking is someone whose influence, whose position, whose capacity to affect your trajectory is significantly larger than most people you typically interact with. And that person, that energy, it's moving toward intersection with yours. Not guaranteed, not on a specific timeline, but probable based on the patterns I'm seeing. Does that feel accurate, or were you hoping for something more dramatic? Be real about what you were expecting, because here's the thing about high profile people entering your life, it's disruptive. Even when it's positive, even when it's exactly what you've been hoping for, even when it creates opportunities you've been working toward, because people with significant influence, people with public presence, people with positional power, they operate in different realities than most. They navigate different pressures. They have different constraints on their time, their attention, their availability. And when you intersect with that world, when someone from that sphere enters your orbit, your normal doesn't work anymore. Your usual way of relating doesn't apply. Your expectations about how connection develops or how opportunities unfold, they all need recalibration. And that recalibration, it's not always comfortable. Sometimes it's exhilarating. Sometimes it's intimidating. Sometimes it's both at once. Have you ever been close to someone operating at a significantly different level than you? Share what that was like if you have, because let me be specific about what this coming energy might actually look like. Professional intersection, someone with influence in your field noticing your work, someone with platform offering opportunity, someone with resources wanting to invest in what you're building. This isn't random. This doesn't happen to people who aren't doing anything. If this is the flavor of high profile energy heading toward you, it's because you've been creating something worth noticing. You've been building skills, developing craft, showing up consistently enough that when someone with discerning eye looks your way, there's something there to see. So if this resonates, if you've been working on something, if you've been positioning yourself in ways that might attract attention from people who matter in your field, keep going, keep building, keep showing up, because the attention you're hoping for doesn't come to people who aren't ready for it. It comes to people who've done enough work that the opportunity can actually be met, or personal connection. Someone with significant presence entering your life romantically or as friend or mentor. Someone whose way of being in the world is just bigger than most people you know. And this creates specific challenges because people who operate at high levels, whether that's fame or wealth or influence or just sheer personal power, they're often complicated. They have guards up for good reason. They're used to people wanting things from them. They're careful about who gets access. So if someone like that is entering your sphere, if the connection is personal rather than professional, you'll need to show up differently than you might with people who don't carry that weight. You'll need to demonstrate that you see them as a person, not as an opportunity, that you're interested in who they are, not what they can do for you, which version feels more relevant to your situation, professional opportunity or personal connection. Because here's what you need to understand about power dynamics. When someone with significantly more influence, resources, visibility, or position intersects with your life, there's inherent imbalance. And that imbalance creates complications. If it's professional, you might feel pressure to say yes to things you'd normally question, to accept terms you'd normally negotiate, to compromise boundaries you'd normally maintain, because the opportunity feels too big to risk losing by being difficult. If it's personal, you might find yourself shrinking, making yourself smaller to not intimidate or challenge or complicate their life, accepting less than you deserve because you're grateful for their attention. And both of those patterns, the over accommodation professionally, the self diminishment personally, they cost you. They cost you your power, your voice, your clear sense of what you actually need and want, independent of what this person offers. So if someone high profile is entering your field, the most important thing you can do is stay in yourself. Stay connected to your center. Stay clear about your values and boundaries and non-negotiables, regardless of what this person's presence might offer. Because if you lose yourself trying to accommodate their magnitude, you might get the opportunity or the connection, but you'll have sacrificed something essential in the process. And that trade, it's rarely worth it. Can you commit to staying in your power even when someone intimidating shows up? Tell me if you think you can actually do that, because I want to address the excitement that's probably coming up, the possibility of someone influential entering your life. It's thrilling. It feels like validation, like proof that your efforts matter, like evidence that you're ready for bigger things. And that excitement is natural, it's human, it makes sense. But don't let it cloud your judgment. Don't let the shine of their profile blind you to red flags you'd notice in anyone else. Don't give them passes on behavior you wouldn't tolerate from someone with less impressive credentials. Because here's the truth. High profile people are still just people. They still have flaws, insecurities, limitations. They still make mistakes, hurt others, operate from ego or fear or need. The difference is their mistakes often have bigger consequences. Their flaws are often more protected. Their limitations are often harder to address because they're surrounded by people who won't challenge them. So if someone like this enters your orbit, yes, be excited. Yes, explore the possibility. Yes, see where it goes. But also, stay discerning. Stay boundaried. Stay willing to walk away if what they're offering comes at too high a cost to your integrity or peace. Fame, influence, position, none of those things make someone worth sacrificing yourself for? Are you clear on that? Or does their profile make you willing to accept less? Get honest in the comments, because let me also talk about what you might need to prepare for. If this person is genuinely high profile in any real sense, if they have visibility or influence or position that makes them different from most people, they're going to have complexity you might not be ready for. They might have schedules that make consistency difficult, demands on their time that mean you're not priority even when they care. Public scrutiny that affects how openly they can engage with you. They might have people around them, managers, assistants, handlers, hangers on, who complicate direct connection, who screen access, who have their own agendas about who gets close. They might have damage from being in high pressure positions, trauma from being used or betrayed or commodified, defenses that make real intimacy challenging even when they want it. And all of that, it's not your job to fix. It's not your responsibility to heal. It's not something you should martyr yourself trying to navigate. If you choose to engage with someone operating at that level, you need to do it with clear eyes about what you're signing up for, about what's actually possible versus what you're hoping becomes possible. Because the fantasy of being with someone high profile is usually very different from the reality. The fantasy is glamour and excitement and doors opening and life becoming bigger and better. The reality is often complicated schedules, limited availability, pressure you didn't anticipate, sacrifices you didn't know you'd be making. Can you handle the reality, not just enjoy the fantasy? Think hard about that, because here's something else worth considering. Why is this person entering your field now? What's the timing about? If you've been doing work, building something, developing yourself in ways that make you ready for bigger opportunities or more complex connections, then this makes sense. This is natural progression. This is you reaching a level where people operating at higher frequencies start noticing you because you're vibrating at a frequency that's detectable to them. But if you haven't been doing that work, if you're not actually ready for what someone high profile would require or offer, if you're hoping their presence will elevate you without you having done the elevating yourself, then this might be a test, a challenge, an opportunity to see whether you'll lose yourself trying to meet someone else's magnitude or whether you'll stay grounded in your own. Which feels more true for your situation? Are you ready, or are you hoping they'll make you ready? Because I need to be direct about something. If someone high profile enters your life and you're not actually prepared, not prepared in skills or capacity or self-knowledge or boundaries, one of two things happens. Either you rise to meet the moment, you grow rapidly, you develop the qualities you need in real time, you stretch into the version of yourself that can navigate this level of interaction. That's the best case scenario. And it's exhausting and exhilarating and transformative all at once. Or you collapse under the pressure. You lose yourself trying to be what you think they need. You compromise too much. You make choices from desperation or insecurity or hope rather than from clarity. And that version, it's painful. It's the version where the opportunity or connection becomes a source of suffering rather than growth. So if this is coming, if someone with real magnitude is about to intersect with your path, get clear now, before they show up, before you're in it and making choices reactively. Get clear about who you are, what you're not willing to compromise, what you actually want versus what looks good from the outside, what you're genuinely ready for versus what you're just excited about. Because that clarity, that's what protects you. That's what allows you to engage without losing yourself. Will you do that work now or wait until you're already in over your head? Commit to one or the other. Because here's what I really want you to understand. If someone high profile is entering your orbit, it's not random. It's not luck. It's not the universe rewarding you arbitrarily. It's consequence of work you've done, of energy you've been putting out, of readiness you've been building, whether you consciously recognized it or not. And that means you can trust yourself. You can trust that if this person shows up, you have what it takes to navigate it. You can trust that you're not being thrown into something you can't handle, but only if you stay in your power, only if you maintain your center. Only if you refuse to shrink or over accommodate or sacrifice your knowing for the sake of keeping their attention. Because the opportunity or connection that requires you to betray yourself isn't actually an opportunity. It's a test you're failing. And the high profile person worth engaging with, they won't want you to shrink. They'll respect boundaries. They'll value your groundedness. They'll be attracted to your refusal to be impressed by their profile. So be yourself. Stay whole. Let them rise to meet you rather than you diminishing to fit into their world. That's how you navigate this well. That's how you receive what's coming without paying too high a price. Can you do that? Can you stay yourself even when someone impressive shows up? Tell me you can. Then prove it by actually doing it when the moment comes. I don't sell futures, I build architects. No predictions, just the raw truth for the tough ones. Stay magic, stay in the now.